food, almost. Although Fred had drunk so much water that the skin on his stomach was stretched tight, he was still painfully hungry. His insides ached and growled noisily. Con giggled. Fred thumped his front with a fist. His body felt as half-mast, weak and flimsy built. He hadn't eaten anything since an apple from before he boarded the plane. He wasn't sure how long ago that was. A day and a half? He thought back. The flight had been back on Saturday, so today was probably, unless they'd all been unconscious for a long time, Sunday. Fred shivered. It shook his head, trying desperately to clear the picture of the burning plane from behind his eyes. I think that there are insects that you can eat, he blurted out, more to distract himself than anything else. The comment was greeted with a silence so unenthusiastic that it seemed to have its own particular smell. And we can have fine fruit, he added. There's got to be some. There are monkeys, and the monkeys have to be eating something. Bananas, maybe. There are banana leaves in the den, or berries. How will we know if the berries are safe? Said Con. I'll test them, said Fred. What if you die? She asked. Maybe we should all test them if we find anyway, said Leela. But not Max. Why not Max? Said Con. If we're risking our lives, why shouldn't he? Because he's too young, asked Leela, and he has some allergies. That's not fair, said Con. She smacked a small rock against a large one, making Max jump. Fred could feel his own temper slipping away. The heat was burning and his stomach felt bitter. Con, he said, come on. You don't know me well enough to tell me, come on. Nobody voted you leader. Fred bit his tongue, feeling his nostrils flare angrily. I didn't say I was. Leela's face was crumbling. Don't, she asked, swallowed back a noise that might have been the beginning of tears or scream, and tried to change the subject. What were you saying about insects? One of my books said that you can eat insects that eat cocoa pods. What book? Just book about explorers. It was a book about Percy Fawcett, a man who had come to the Amazon in search of golden cities. It was the kind of book that left you breathless and eye-stretched. What did your book, Con pronounced the word with distrust, say the insects look like? Small, said Fred. It said not to eat any insects too big to put up your nostrils. Any further detail on that? Asked Con. Even her teeth looked sarcastic. No, Fred wished, not for the first time, that more of his book had pictures. Leela will know, said Max proudly. Leela knows everything about animals. She nearly got expelled trying to keep a squirrel in her desk. He grinned. Mama was so angry. Shush, Max. Leela glared at her brother. Well, insects aren't animals, so none of this is useful. Do you know? Fred asked Leela. There was a spark of something stirring behind her eyes. I'm not sure, said Leela, but actually she jumped to her feet. Max, stay here. I'll be right back. What? No! Max put down the leaf he was chewing and screwed his face into an angry ball. Wait! But Leela had gone, running out of the clearing, her half-burnt plate swinging behind her. The 15 minutes that followed were not peaceful. Max tried to follow Leela, but Leela had disappeared into the undergrowth and couldn't be found. Fred picked Max up to stop him from running out through the unmarked, thick, crowded trees. Max had him on the back of the hand. Con called him a brat. Max bit Con on the shin. Before Con could bite Max back, Leela burst out of the trees. Her eyes were raw with relief. Thank goodness! I thought I was lost. I missed a turn somewhere, she said, her breath jagged edge and her forehead shining with sweat. She had made the jersey into a kind of sack, and she held it in both arms. "Did you find food?" asked Con. "Yes," she said. Then her honesty got the better of her, and she added, "Almost." She opened her improvised sack and poured a dozen of pods onto the grass. "They don't all have lava holes in them," she said, "but I thought we could eat the cocoa beans too." She began breaking them open with her nails. Fred picked up one of the pods. There was 2 holes in the top. "There's something in here." He tried to shake the thing out, but it didn't come. He poked a stick into a hole and shook it again. A fat little grub, 2 centimeters long, tipped out on his palm. That's it," said Leela. "That's the grub. You can eat it." "Oh, good," lied Fred. The grub lay on his hands. It didn't move, but it seemed to be pulsating slightly. He sniffed it. "Go on," said Con. "It was your idea." "Ugh." Fred pinched his nose, braced himself, and bit the grub in half. It was soft, but its insides were sandy, and the crunch of it against the teeth made him shudder. He swallowed with difficulty. "It tastes a tiny bit like chocolate," he said. "Really?" Her whole face and even her ears were skeptical. It's difficult to make ears register emotion, but Con managed it. "But mostly like dirt," Fred admitted. "Peanuts and dirt." Soon the grubs lay in a pinkish, withering pyramid. Fred tried to feel grateful that they had any food at all. He failed badly. Leela picked the 3 plumpest and offered them palm to Max. "No, that's not food. Max only eats actual food. Mama says don't eat insects." Leela sighed. "He talks about himself as if he were another person when he's nervous." "Max isn't nervous," said Max. "Maxie is just being good." He rubbed at the cut on his knee and began to hiccup. "I want to go home," he said. "I know you do," said Leela. She pulled him closer. "But this is all we have. I don't know what else to do, Maxie." He pushed her away. "Mama would know." His nail caught on the cut of Leela's cheek. "But Mama's not here." She blinked hard and wiped her nose on her wrist. "What if we fry them," said Max, "and make them into a pancake?" "Fry what? We don't have a pan." "But we got stones," said Leela. She scrubbed her face at the top and tried to sound bright. "We could make chocolate pancakes, sort of." "Sort of," said Con. "Really, quite amazingly, sort of."